Today, we come together to highlight the immense prospects and possibilities that Africa offers. Our goal is to raise awareness about the vast opportunities available across this continent and to explain the purpose behind establishing this think tank. Briefly speaking about the aims of today's launch, these are that we'll be discussing we'll be speaking about revitalizing the historical bond of solidarity between Pakistan and Africa that was established during Pakistan's support for African freedom movement. We'll be reaffirming Pakistan's foreign policy focus and active engagement in Africa, recognizing our shared interests and Africa's pivotal role in the resurgence of the global South in the 21st century. We will look into strengthening Pakistan-Africa relations to enhance people-to-people exchanges and business-to-business connectivity. Our agenda for today is packed with insightful sessions and discussions that will delve into various aspects of Pakistan-Africa relationship and mutual interests. I encourage all of you to actively participate, ask questions, and share your experiences and insights. Let us proceed now with today's programs with enthusiasm and determination. We will commence our program with the recitation from the Holy Quran, which is a source of guidance and solace for all of us. After this, Madam Nadra Panjwani will set the tone for the discussion ahead. We will explore the possibilities and significance of the topic with our esteemed speaker, Senator Mushahid Hussain Sayyed Sahab, who will share his expertise and insights on the different dimensions of this initiative. A question and answer session will follow this presentation, allowing further clarification and engagement with the audience. Mr. Tariq Ikram, ex-chairman, Trade and Development and Authority of Pakistan, will also share his role in bringing Africa to the agenda of Pakistan's trade policy. And in closing, we will request patron KCFR, Mr. Ikram Segal, to give us his concluding remarks and summarize the key takeaways of today's seminar. Next, I would like to call Madam Nadra Panjwani, who is the chairperson of Karachi Council on Foreign Relations. Most of you know her and are aware of her vast philanthropic services. She leads many public benefit projects and initiatives of national importance and relevance in health, education, scientific research, women empowerment, special education, and water security in Pakistan. Her tireless efforts for Pakistan have been recognized by the state through the prestigious awards of Sitara-e-Imtiaz and Hilal-e-Imtiaz. She is also a recipient of the Benazir Bhutto Women Excellence Award. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chairperson KCFR, Madam Nadra Panjwani.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Senator Sayyid Mushahid Hussain Saab, respected members of the diplomatic community, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to everyone. Karachi Council on Foreign Relations extends a warm welcome to Senator Mushahid Hussain Saab and takes great pleasure in the launching of his initiative, which is the Pakistan-Africa Institute of Development and Research, from its forum in Karachi. As we all know, Senator Saab's multifaceted personality and achievements span across various domains. He is not only a distinguished writer and a visionary politician, but also an influential theorist whose contributions have left a mark on the political landscape of Pakistan. His books on Pakistan's governance, geostrategy, and foreign relations are widely acclaimed and have influenced contemporary thought and policy making. He has always remained a strong advocate of Pak-China relations and lobbied extensively for strengthening our ties with China and the Central Asian republics. Today's event is dedicated to another forward-looking initiative of Senator Saab, and this is the launch of PAIDAR, which is the acronym for the Pakistan-Africa Institute of Development and Research. Ladies and gentlemen, today Africa is emerging from the shadows of its historical challenges, is undergoing a profound transformation, and is ready to take on a more meaningful role on the global stage. Over the past 2 decades, several African countries have ranked as the fastest growing economies of the world. Countries like Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Ghana have shown substantial GDP growth. This is an outcome of their improved governance, investment in infrastructure, and an expanding middle class. The African Continental Free Trade Area, which was formed in 2021, gave a major boost to intra-African trade and created a single market for their goods and services. Continuation and strengthening of this initiative will unlock this continent's vast potential. Africa is also becoming a hub of technological and digital transformation. Adoption of mobile technology has completely changed sectors like finance, healthcare, and education. African tech startups are attracting big investments, and cities like Lagos, Nairobi, and Cape Town are emerging as tech ecosystems. Africa in general has had a turbulent political past, but now there is a growing trend towards improved governance and democratic processes. Ghana is often cited as a model of democratic governance in the region. There are serious efforts to root out corruption and strengthen institutions, and this in turn has promoted sustainable development of Ghana. In the field of human development, indicators are encouraging. Education and quality of life are rising, and some progress has been made in the healthcare sectors, like prevention and treatment of malaria, eradication of polio, and control of HIV/AIDS. A major expansion of healthcare facilities is also underway. In many of their countries, school enrollment stands at 80%, and curriculum reforms are undertaken with the inclusion of vocational training, digital literacy, and practical life skills. The gender gap in education is also narrowing as more and more girls are joining schools. Quality of life in Africa varies across the continent. Countries like South Africa, Kenya, and Morocco have higher quality of life indices, while countries like Chad, Niger, Sudan, Somalia, and a few more are facing major challenges in all areas of human development. So continued investments in infrastructure, healthcare, education, and economic reforms is the roadmap for their way forward. Our neighbors like China and India have already seized the potential opportunities here and established large footprints in the continent. China is Africa's largest trading partner, buying oil, copper, and iron, and exporting to them a vast range of manufactured goods. Similarly, India has invested heavily in their capacity building and infrastructure development. The Indian diaspora, as in the Indian origin Africans, are playing an important role in their education, health, and trade sectors. As for Pakistan's relations with this continent, since our independence in 1947, we have always supported decolonization movements in Africa. Pakistan has contributed notably to the United Nations peacekeeping missions in several African countries. Looking at their abundant natural resources and expanding consumer markets, our trade with them has great potential for growth, but has so far remained largely untapped. We mainly export textiles, pharmaceuticals, surgical goods, and rice to Africa, and import commodities like tea and coffee and some agricultural products. The Trade Development Authority of Pakistan has been trying to enhance and diversify trade with Africa under its Look Africa policy. This was in essence launched in 2002 during the tenure of Tariq Ikram Saab, who is incidentally also a key member of Karachi Council on Foreign Relations. He'll be speaking shortly and telling you more about his initiatives of those years. We have embassies in several African countries, and quite a few memoranda of understanding have been signed in areas such as health, education, and trade. Going forward, we can expand ties in sectors such as agriculture, technology, and energy. Here I would like to briefly share with you a very recent and personal experience of collaboration between Pakistan and Africa. It's a small step, but I'm sure it will please you. Earlier this year in January, Dr. Iqbal Chaudhry Saab, the Coordinator General of COMSTAC, and this is the OIC arm for science and education collaboration, talked to me about the possibility of providing training in the field of special education to teachers from African countries he had visited who had requested COMSTAC for assistance in this field. We at the Idaru Schools, which is a centennial organization and a pioneer in special education for the blind and deaf students, welcomed the idea and made the arrangements jointly with COMSTAC for receiving the first batch of trainees who were from Nigeria, Tanzania, Uganda, and also Kenya. I'm happy to tell you that their 3 months training program with us has now successfully concluded. And after receiving their certificates, they are now heading home. We found them to be very well disciplined, extremely focused, and socially pleasant and good-natured. This initiative will be ongoing and will be receiving the next batch of trainees soon. So here is a real and tangible example of Pakistan contributing to the education of special children in Africa. As Africa continues to rise, it is imperative for the international community to support and engage with this transforming continent. We must foster partnerships, invest in their sustainable development, and support equitable growth. A rising Africa has the potential of not only benefiting the Africans, but the entire globe. In conclusion, I would like to thank patron KCFR, Ikram Saigal Saab, and Pathfinders for co-sponsoring today's event with us. We are grateful to all of our esteemed guests for spending their Sunday morning for us, and many thanks to Senator Saab for launching Paidar from our platform in Karachi. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam, for your very excellent and insightful speech. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Tariq Ikram, who's the ex-chairman of Trade and Development Authority of Pakistan. Mr. Tariq Ikram is a distinguished individual with a diverse educational background and has made significant contributions to the various fields, including corporate, government, education, and philanthropy. He joined Reckitt Benckiser as a management trainee and became the CEO and regional head. Ikram Saab's leadership skills led to the growth of the company. He also founded the Pakistan Advisors Society and the Pakistan Research Society. He was invited to join the government of Pakistan as a Federal Minister of State and Chairman of the Trade and Development Authority. He is currently the Chairman of Alpha Insurance and actively involved in academia. In recognition of his abilities and contributions, Mr. Ikram was awarded the Sitara-e-Imtiaz. He had the privilege of interacting with various governments and international private sectors at the highest levels, contributing to the growth of Pakistan's exports. Ikram Saab, if you'll please have.
Thank you very much for reminding me of my past and some thoughts that went with it. Very grateful for your acknowledgement. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Senator Syed Mushahid Hussain Saab is an old colleague, is a friend, and he's amazingly articulate, as we were just discussing, Ikram Bhai and myself. And the articulation is not just simply a matter of being able to say something well, but to say something with excellence of content and conviction, leading to belief. And these are the fundamentals of communication, mashallah. Senator Saab, welcome. Ikram Bhai, thanks to you that KCFR is beginning to fire all cylinders. Nadra Panjwani providing the leadership, mashallah, absolutely excellent. Huma as your second in command, is Huma here? Right, she's right there. And I think Sindh Investment Board is represented. Welcome. So welcome to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for the opportunity to say a few words. I'd like to be very brief. Africa has been and is a host of opportunity emerging out of significant challenges of history. The Africa think tank that you have started is, I think, an excellent opportunity, because the opportunity can only be looked at in a comprehensive manner. It's so multidimensional that you cannot look at it from only a trade point of view, or from only economic diplomacy point of view, or from mutual diplomatic relations point of view. But it's multidimensional, and therefore a think tank which contributes to the thinking process is something that is very, very important. And I'm sure that Senator Saab will dwell a lot more about it. I'd like to just point out one aspect of this multidimensional consideration of the think tank, and that is trade. Trade, to me, is not only a source of socio-economic development of the two regions or countries, but also it is a very, very strong cementing factors for sustainable relationships between nations and between countries. So when we talk about trade, usually there are 3 or 4 questions that I have heard people say, and we recently had a seminar on the ramping up of exports, and these were echoed there as well. What does Pakistan have for exports? Pakistan has nothing for exports. That's the general view. Absolutely wrong. You might want to know that in the world there are 5,998 items that are imported at a total import value of $25 trillion. Pakistan already exports 3,170 of those items. 57% of those items Pakistan exports. And of this, those items that we already export at more than $500,000 per item per year are 1,022. And do you know what is the import value in the world of these 1,022 items? $12 trillion. So what would be 1% of $12 trillion? $120 billion. So ladies and gentlemen, don't let anybody tell you that Pakistan has nothing for exports. We have, but the challenge is volume, and the market share is small, and that's a different ball game. One of the areas that offers us this huge opportunity is Africa. And as Nadra had very kindly pointed out, in 2002, when we made out an export strategy, the first strategy of exports for Pakistan, and Kader Bhai, you were there, and you helped Mangoes in London as the High Commissioner. At that time, the exports strategy included, for geographic focus, 2 of the various areas where we were weak. One was Africa, and one was Eastern Europe. Australasia was also very small, but we said we cannot do everything all the time. Focus is the name of the game. So we picked up Africa. And when the strategy was approved by General Musharraf in the Federal Export Development Board, June of 2000, we started to divert the resources towards the strategic intent. And we realized, just one of the many things, and I won't bore you with everything, we realized that Trade Development Authority, which promotes exports, was doing only 2 events in the whole of Africa. One was CITEX and one was something else. Whereas 14 were required. And so we diverted the resources, which is the advantage of a strategy development, because it helps you focus the resources. At that time, our exports in Africa, sir, were $350 million. I remember the figures. And by 2008, these had moved to $760 million. It was more than 100% increase in Africa. And this was only the tip of the iceberg. Sir, to be able to have exports of about 100 billion. In fact, I was reading IMF's report, the second review report that has just come out. And I was pained to see that the debt of Pakistan, which everybody screams about, کہ مر گئے ڈیٹ سے یار, مر گئے ہم ڈیٹ پہ, سارے باتیں کرتے ہیں, مشاہد بھائی آپ بھی باتیں کرتے ہیں, مگر کرتے کچھ نہیں اس کے متعلق. 100 بلین کے ٹریجر میں ہم بیٹھے ہوئے ہیں, تو وہ کس دن ہمارا ہوگا؟ آئی ایم ایف نے ابھی پورا انالیسس کیا ہے اور انہوں نے بتایا ہے, اور میں دیکھ رہا تھا کہ ہماری ڈیٹ $116 بلین سے $149 بلین پہ جائے گی. آئی ایم ایف خود کہہ رہی ہے کہ جائے گی. اور کیوں؟ کہ جب میں نے اس کی ڈیٹیل دیکھی تو پتہ لگا کہ ہماری ایکسپورٹ کا فگر وہ صرف $41 بلین لے رہے ہیں. یعنی کہ ہماری گورنمنٹ کنونس نہیں کر سکی ان کو کہ ہمارے پاس روبسٹ پلانز ہیں ٹو بی ایبل ٹو اچیو دا رائٹ اماؤنٹ آف فگرز. Unfortunate. And I think it's not because of any lack of competence, but lack of knowledge of what Pakistan exports and how it can be increased. صرف ایک بات مشاہد بھائی, you have the ears of the topmost in the country. Sir, export کرنے کے لیے دو تین چیزیں لازم ہیں. ایک, یہ امپلیمنٹیشن کی بات کر رہا ہوں. دیکھیں, منسٹری آف کامرس کے نیچے نہ ایف بی آر آتا ہے, نہ فارن افیئرز آتی ہے, نہ اسٹیٹ بینک آتا ہے, تو وہ ترلے منتیں کرتے ہیں. رزاق میرا دوست جو تھا, وہ بیچارہ جب ایس ٹی پی ایف بن گیا, اسٹریٹجک ٹریڈ پالیسی فریم ورک, تو وہ منتیں کرتا تھا کہ یار میرا کام کر دو, یار میرا کام کر دو. یہ نہیں ہو سکتا. پرائم منسٹر has to own exports. And what does that mean? تقریریں تو سارے کرتے ہیں, مگر اس کا مطلب کیا ہے؟ ہر مہینے ایک دن پرائم منسٹر جو 12 سیکٹرز ہم نے آئیڈینٹیفائی کیے ہیں, ان کے ٹاپ 10 ایکسپورٹرز کو بلائیں اور ان سے کہیں ٹاپ 10 کہ مجھے 5 گنا زیادہ ایکسپورٹ چاہیے 5 سال میں. یہ کوئی نئی بات نہیں ہے, مہاتر نے میرے سامنے مشرف کو کہا تھا, I was there with him. 5 گنا ایکسپورٹ چاہیے, آپ بتائیں آپ کو کیا چاہیے. جو وہ کہیں ہمیں چاہیے, ٹیم کو بٹھائیں سامنے اور کہیں کہ اگلے مہینے اسی دن آپ ان کے سامنے جواب دیں گے. میں دیکھوں گا کیسے 3 مہینے کے بعد رنگ نہیں بدلتا. سر, دا پرائم منسٹر ہیز ٹو لیڈ ایکسپورٹس. اور سر ایک چیز اور, خدا کے لیے, جو آدمی کہتا ہے ایکسپورٹر چور ہے, رینٹ سیکر ہے, ٹریڈ یہ اسمگلر ہے, ٹیکس ایویڈر ہے, اس کو تو بند کرائیں. کلچر ول ایٹ اسٹریٹجی فار بریکفسٹ. کلچر ول ایٹ اسٹریٹجی فار بریکفسٹ. لنچ کا بھی انتظار نہیں کرے گی. کیوں؟ کہ اسٹریٹجی تو آپ کو رستہ بتاتی ہے نا, اسکوپ بتاتی ہے, ڈائریکشن بتاتی ہے. Culture is the habitat in which that strategy either lives or dies. So therefore یہ کلچر کو کریکٹ کرنا جو ہے وہ بڑا لازم ہے. سر, میں افریقہ کے اوپر زیادہ بات نہیں کروں گا کیونکہ آپ نے, مجھے پتہ ہے بہت ساری بات کرنی ہے, مگر فرام اے ٹریڈ پوائنٹ آف ویو افریقہ کی ٹوٹل امپورٹ $725 بلین, اور یہ 5499 پروڈکٹ کلسٹرز کا رزلٹ ہے جو وہ امپورٹ کرتے ہیں. ہم پاکستان کی ایکسپورٹ جو کر رہے ہیں ان کو $1.5 بلین کر رہے ہیں صرف, یعنی کہ 0.21% آف دا شیئر, اونلی 0.21%. اور ہم صرف 1148 پروڈکٹس ان کو ایکسپورٹ کرتے ہیں. ہمارے پاس بہت سکوپ ہے ان چیزوں کا جو ہم دنیا کو ایکسپورٹ کرتے ہیں ان سگنیفیکنٹ نمبرز, مگر افریقہ کو نہیں کرتے. کیوں بھائی؟ دھیان نہیں ہے. نہ ٹریڈ کا دھیان تھا اور نہ گورنمنٹ کا دھیان تھا, اور جو دھیان شروع کیا تھا وہ بیچ میں رہ گیا. تو اب جو تھنک ٹینک آپ بنا رہے ہیں اس کے اندر جو میجر تھرسٹ آپ کا آنا چاہیے وہ میری خیال کے مطابق وہ ہماری ٹریڈ جس کی اپرچونیٹیز. میرے خیال کے مطابق جو میں نے فگرز سے ورک آؤٹ کیا ہے اور یہ ایک ایک پروڈکٹ کو اینالائز کرنے کے بعد کیا ہے, ہماری افریقہ کی پوٹینشیل 5 سال کی کوئی $4.5 بلین کی ہے. اس وقت 1.5 بلین ہے, 5 سال میں 4.5 بلین پہ جا سکتے ہیں. اور اس کے اندر ٹیکسٹائل اپیرل تو ہے ہی 800 ملین کا پوٹینشیل, سیریلز رائس 700 ملین ہے, کنفیکشنری از اباؤٹ $80 ملین کا پوٹینشیل ہے. اور یہ میں سنجیدگی سے آپ کو فگرز کی انالیسس کے بعد بتا رہا ہوں. انڈینیچرڈ ایتھائل الکوہل 35 ملین کا اس کا پوٹینشیل ہے, سیمنٹ 80 ملین, فارماسیوٹیکل 60 ملین, کیمیکلز 30 ملین, پی وی سی 20 ملین, پیپر اینڈ بورڈ 80 ملین, tractors 40 million, float glass 34 million, and instrument and appliances 28 million. These are just top 10-11 items. اب یہ چیزیں آپ لوگوں نے زیادہ نہیں سنی ہوں گی کیونکہ ہمیں آتا ہی صرف کیا ہے, ٹیکسٹائل, لیدر, سرجیکل, اسپورٹ اینڈ کارپیٹ. اس کے بعد ہماری ذہنی قابلیت ختم ہو جاتی ہے بیکاز وی ڈونٹ نو واٹ پاکستان از آلریڈی ایکسپورٹنگ. سوال صرف ایک لاسٹ میں کہوں گا کہ لوگ کہتے ہیں کہ جی ٹھیک ہے جی یہ پوٹینشیل تو ہے, یہ ہو بھی سکتا ہے کہ نہیں ہو سکتا. میرا صرف ایک سوال ان لوگوں سے یہ ہے, سن 2000 میں جب پاکستان کے ریزروز $530 ملین تھے, جب جی ڈی پی کی گروتھ ریٹ نہ ہونے کے برابر رہ گئی تھی, جب ہمارے انٹرسٹ ریٹ 17-18% تھے اور بینک انٹرسٹ چارج کرتا تھا 21-22%, آپ کو یاد ہوگا, اور ہمارے پہ سینکشنز لگی ہوئی تھی, آئی ایم ایف ہماری شکل دیکھنے کو تیار نہیں تھا. اگر اس وقت ہم 7.5 بلین سے 20 بلین پہ ایکسپورٹ لے جا سکتے ہیں تو آج کیوں نہیں؟ ضرور لے جا سکتے ہیں. اینڈ آئی وش مشاہد صاحب every success to your think tank, but trade is going to be critical. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call Mr. Khizr Parvez, the visionary CEO, the Chief Executive Officer at Sindh Enterprise Development Fund, where innovations meet impact. Khizr Sahab will illuminate the path towards the lucrative investment opportunities in Pakistan, crafting a narrative of growth and prosperity for exporters. Please welcome Khizr Parvez Sahib.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Honorable Chief Guest, Mushahid Sahab, Ikram Sehgal Sahab, Ms. Nadra, Tariq Ikram Sahab. Thank you. Thank you for having Investment Department, Government of Sindh over here to represent the Sindh province and the investment opportunities we have in Sindh. When I came over here, I was told that I have to speak, and so I started Googling, kya bolu, what shall I speak? But then came Tariq Ikram Sahab, and I started listening to him, and I said, I don't need Google anymore, I have all my data. So thank you, Tariq Sahab. That was a great numbers which you just shared with the entire audience. This, sir, is a great initiative by the Africa, Pakistan, I would call it developing nations. We have a lot of similarities and a lot of opportunities in both the regions, as Tariq Sahab just mentioned. جو سب سے امپورٹنٹ چیز ہے فرام گورنمنٹ پرسپیکٹو, دیٹ از ٹریڈ انڈیڈ, نو ڈاؤٹ اباؤٹ اٹ. And this is something which we need to work upon. The government of Sindh, government of Pakistan is already working on it. We have a lot of items which we export to Africa. But mainly it comprises of, as you said, textiles and paper goods. But then there are a lot of items which we import from Africa as well, mainly from South Africa. Or iske andar the main important items that are coal, iron waste and products of iron and steel. So this is something which we need to work on. What happens with Pakistan and with Sindh, I'm sure so you would agree that we have a lot of products which we send out every year, but those products are not processed or viably available or acceptable to the international market. اور ہم یہاں سے ان پروسیس چیزیں باہر بھیج دیتے ہیں جن کی ویلیو اتنی نہیں ہوتی اور وہ واپس سے پروسیس ہو کے اچھے طریقے سے پیکج ہو کے واپس پاکستان میں اور زیادہ داموں پہ آ جاتی ہے. تو دس از سم تھنگ وچ وی نیڈ ٹو ورک آن اینڈ وچ گورنمنٹ آف سندھ ایٹ آر لیول وی آر ڈوئنگ. انویسٹمنٹ ڈپارٹمنٹ ہیز اے لاٹ آف سب ڈپارٹمنٹس انڈر دیم. Sindh Enterprise Development Fund is one of the departments. We have a special economic zone department. We have education city. We have ease of access of business. So I'll just tell the audience about what SEDF does. Is we provide technical and financial assistance to anybody who wants to invest in the province of Sindh in any sector apart from real estate. Kyunki real estate ko alhamdulillah bahut kaam ho chuke hain hamare suba. So what we do is we provide you technical assistance in the form of feasibility studies, liaison with different government departments, and financial assistance in the form of, we have collaborated with all the major banks in Pakistan. Sir, we provide Kaibor subsidy. Anybody who wants to invest in the province, we are going to take care of the interest for a period of 3 years to support SMEs and entrepreneurship in the province of Sindh, and that is across all sectors apart from real estate. So if you want to invest in dairy, if you want to invest in steel, if you want to invest in shrimp farming, if you want to invest in education, anything, we are going to support you. We are going to get you, we'll provide you the access to finance. That's what we do. If you have a problem of lands, we will provide you land. The reason why we are doing it is because we want our SMEs and enterprises to develop starting from Sindh. جب وہ یہاں پہ ڈیولپ ہو جائیں گی, they'll start producing good stuff and we will be able to export that stuff to countries like Africa, which has a huge potential of exporting. As I said before, we have an array of products which we can export, and I think trade is the game forward with a growing region like Africa. Government of Sindh is committed. Investment department is committed. We are ready to help any entrepreneur, any SME who wants to come over here, and our main goal is to work on import substitution, and that can only happen if we start exporting stuff. I think this is a great initiative again, and this is a great platform. KCFR, thank you for organizing such events. It's very necessary that we voice our concerns. So I thank you, and I look forward to the rest of the speaking. Thank you very much. Thanks.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce the founder of our think tank, Senator Mushahid Hussain Sayyid Sahab. Mushahid Hussain Sayyid Sahab is an elected senator, member of Pakistan's parliament. He is currently the chairman of the Senate Defense Committee, plus a member of the Human Rights, Climate Change and Foreign Affairs Committees of the Parliament. During 2015 to 2018, he served as chairman Parliamentary Committee on Pak-China Economic Corridor, CPEC, where he played a pivotal role in promoting CPEC, the flagship and pilot project of BRI. Senator Saab has been the Minister for Information, Culture and Tourism. He is the founder of 2 think tanks, Islamabad Policy Research Institute and Pakistan-China Institute, the first think tank in Pakistan devoted to Pak-China relations and relations within the region.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. It is both my pleasure and privilege to invite Senator Saab for his address.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In the name of the Almighty, the Lord of all mankind, the Honorable Chairperson of the Karachi Council of Foreign Relations, Madam Nadra Panjwani Saiba, listening to your speech where you talked of the profound transformation in Africa and your wide-ranging focus, I am reminded of a very famous saying of the great Chairman Mao. When I went to China at the age of 17, about a little over 50 years ago, and I remember he said, women hold half the sky. And I think in Karachi Council of Foreign Affairs, they hold more than half the sky. Because she is a lady of substance, she has been minister, and she also has established a very important hospital in the name of her late esteemed mother, Zainab Panjwani Hospital, which is doing a great job for women. My good friend, my old, I would say, comrade, a person whom I have always respected, Ikram Sehgal, an authentic war hero, the first Pakistani prisoner of war to escape from an Indian prison in the 1971 war. We are proud of you, Ikram, because Ikram has traversed a long journey from Khaki to Mufti. He was a military man, and now he's a certified civilian Democrat. But one thing I've seen in him, whether it's the civilian system or the military regimes, mindset to ek hi hai na, we do not like criticism, we like khushamad. He speaks truth to power. So more power to your pen and more power to your voice. Your Excellency Sami Abdullah Al-Khanjari, the Honorable Consul General of Oman. And Oman is an example that size does not equal strength. The Omani Empire extended to Africa. In Zanzibar was part of the Omani Empire, where they brought in Muslim. And I remember when I first met the Foreign Minister of Oman 5 years ago at a conference in Muscat. I said, it was a very formal meeting, and I said, Excellency, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity of CPEC. He said, Excellency, I don't understand what you're saying. CPEC? I said, CPEC is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. He said, what did we do? I said, you gave us Gwadar 50 years ago. Thank you. If there was no Gwadar, there was no CPEC. So, you know, and I had, as a student in Washington, I had the great honor and opportunity of meeting His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, handsome, dynamic person, because I had been doing research on Oman, and I mentioned about Salalah also. Tariq Ikram Saab, sir, you have given you have strategic clarity. So I'll say, please give me your CV right now. I'll send it to the SIFC, because people like you are needed. And you said that I have the ear of people in Islamabad, but I'm reminded of what happened in the Bible when Jesus Christ says, they hear, but they do not listen. But anyway, we will focus on that. Where's Qadir Jafar Saab, my old friend? And Khadam Ali Shah Saab, it's good to see you, sir. He's a thinking, I would say, politician. He was close to Benazir Bhutto Sahiba. He's written a book also, and I've enjoyed reading his book. And Qadir Jafar Saab, thank you for being here. You were a very successful High Commissioner of Pakistan in London. And I still remember he committed blasphemy, according to British standards. Because in the 2002 World Cup, at the Pakistan Society annual dinner, he announced, and the World Cup was being played the next day, and every Briton was there. It was England versus Brazil. He said, look here, I am supporting Brazil, because I am the Consul General of Brazil. So the British, all the elite were shaken up, but still you had the courage to speak your convictions. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure. Dr. Junaid Saab, thank you for coming also. This is an initiative whose time has come, the Pakistan Africa Institute for Development and Research. And there are three reasons I want to give you the context for that. One is Pakistan's historic relationship. You see, often we'll link things with money, with kind of dollars and cents. The most important thing in the lives of nations is their role in leading on issues, ideas, and initiatives. After all, it was the idea of Pakistan, 1930, Allama Iqbal, which became a living reality under the leadership of the great Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. The idea of Islam, which spread so wide. So ideas are the ones which move history. And even Khadim Ali Shah Sahab, aap bhi purane leftist hain, Marx, Lenin, Engels, Mao. These are ideas which shape history. And in Pakistan's case, I was in the United Nations and I was accosted by the foreign minister of Eritrea. And he said, "You're from Pakistan." He said, "Excellency, I want to thank you for your support." I said, "What did we do?" He said, "You supported us, the first country in 1952, the right of self-determination of Eritrea. This is Pakistan, 5 years after the creation of Pakistan." تو اصل بات ہے کہ آپ میں ہمت ہونی چاہیے, دم ہونی چاہیے. It's not linked with a lot of money or even a nuclear bomb. لیکن اگر آپ میں وہ ہے clarity and you have that conviction and taking it forward. In the 50s, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, Pakistan was the one country that provided diplomatic passports to the liberation leaders of Morocco, Muhammad al-Faraj, Algeria, Farhat Abbas, Tunisia, Habib Bourguiba Jr. They had offices in this great city of Karachi, it was the capital, and they had offices in the Pakistan mission in the United Nations. We were the voice of freedom in Africa in the first 10 years of our own independence. We had no money, we had no oil. And when I went to Tunisia in 1990 to interview Yasser Arafat, he was then in exile from Beirut there, I was amazed. Muhammad Ali Jinnah Road, Sir Zafrullah Causeway, they had honored our leaders because of that role. And we continued that. Zimbabwe, the first country to provide weapons to Zimbabwe, to the ZANU, Zimbabwe African National Union, led by Robert Mugabe, Pakistan and China. Nelson Mandela, African National Congress, Pakistan, leading, providing money and arms. So the first Air Chief of Zimbabwe was Air Marshal Azim Daud Pota Sahib. Azim Daud Pota, you can see that. Chief Justice of Gambia, Ali Nawaz Chauhan. Chief Commissioner of Uganda, Mia Riazuddin. So and teachers, doctors, specialists in Nigeria, in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Uganda, in different parts. And that's why this is an important footprint of Pakistan that we have played that role. And as mentioned by Tariq Ikram Sahib and Nadra Panjwani Sahiba, Africa is the land of opportunity. It's a happening place. 55 countries, you mentioned $725 billion in terms of trade. So Pakistan has to have that role. And I'm very happy to announce, ladies and gentlemen, that Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and Rwanda have now opened up embassies in Islamabad. So we have 15 African embassies. And Pakistan has opened up 5 different embassies in Africa, including Rwanda. So we have about 20 missions now in Africa. So our diplomatic footprint is expanding. So that is a very important area. And I think that it's not just government to government, it has to be an initiative where trade, investment, business to business, people to people, that has to be taken forward. The second context, when I talk of launching PAIDAR, the Pakistan Africa Institute for Development and Research, the first think tank on Africa and Pakistan, is that Pakistan is inshallah going to become a member of the United Nations Security Council, non-permanent member, for 2 years, starting January 1st, 2025. For 2 years, we have to play a role on the big diplomatic canvas, not just representing our region, not just representing the Muslim countries, not just representing the developing countries, but the reality of the global south, countries of Asia, Africa, Latin America. And I myself had the opportunity when I was studying in Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. in the School of Foreign Service. My professor, my academic advisor was the top Africa expert of the United States of America, Dr. Chester Crocker. He was a top Africanist, and then he became the Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs under President Ronald Reagan. And so he was my chief academic advisor, my tutor, my mentor, and so I learned a lot from Africa. I studied about China and Africa when I was studying in America, in Georgetown. And also, as in my student days, I had formed the Pakistan Committee for Afro-Asian Solidarity. Next year, 2025, we'll be celebrating 70 years of the Bandung Conference, which was organized by President Sukarno in 1955 in April. And 29 Asian African countries took part in that. And Pakistan's delegation was led by Prime Minister Muhammad Ali Bogra Sahib at that time. And that was the first meeting of Pakistani leaders with leaders of China. Premier Zhou Enlai was there, leaders of Africa, they were there, Jamal Abdul Nasser and others were there. So we have had that important, the Bandung spirit is now being revived. And I just met the Indonesian Consul General who was here at breakfast. And I was telling him, I spoke to him a bit of in Bahasa Indonesia. He said, how do you know? I said, my father was Pakistan's first military attaché under the days of President Sukarno, Colonel Amjad Hussain Sayyid Saab. And he played a pivotal role in developing close relations with Indonesia and Pakistan. And my father and my late mother, Madam Samin Sayyid Sahaba, she was very close to Sukarno's wife, Madam Fatmawati. He spoke Indonesian. He got the highest military award from Dr. Sukarno. And he helped build that relationship with Indonesia, which was previously closer to India, that in 1965 war, Indonesia stood like a rock. And he said, do you know Jakarta well? I said, I still remember my house on 42 Jalan Diponegoro, which is one of the main boulevards of Jakarta. So it's important that Pakistan develop this kind of relationship. And then when I was Minister for Information, Culture and Tourism, I had the great privilege of being the minister in waiting to the great Nelson Mandela. He came for 4 days, I was there. My wife, Dr. Dushka Sayyed, was the lady in waiting to his daughter, Princess Zenani, and we spent 4 days with Mandela Sahib. He also gave his book inscribed to me with his autograph. And he said that in their freedom struggle, one of the inspirations of South Africa was, he said, your great leader, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. So this is Mandela, he was saying that. So, we have that kind of a broad relationship, and it was Mandela who supported us on Kashmir in 1998. So we have to take this forward. And the third context, ladies and gentlemen, when I talk of this initiative on Africa, is the huge global change. We are very lucky that we're living in a time of not just turbulence, but also transformation. And this transformation that is happening in human history, in the international political arena, is amazing and outstanding. And I'll just give you a few examples of that. Last week I was reading The Economist, and they have a cover story. Those of you who read The Economist would have seen it. The global order established by the West after the Second World War seems to be now coming apart. This is what The Economist has written. President Xi Jinping met President Putin. Anatoly is here. He's the trade representative of Russia. I just went to your country, sir, and I had good meetings with your leaders. And I'm going again next month to Vladivostok because the BRICS conference is being held in Vladivostok. And I'm the first Pakistani to be invited to the BRICS because we are not formally a member, but in my own capacity as an observer. And I was invited last year also to South Africa for that purpose. And President Xi Jinping told President Putin, we are witnessing changes in the world which have not been seen in the last 100 years. Not seen in a century. And I was reading an article by the Chancellor of Germany, Olaf Scholz, in the Foreign Affairs, which is a very prestigious American journal. And he said, the world is witnessing epochal tectonic change. Tectonic change, which is, it's like an earthquake, the tectonic plates shift. And the most important statement was given by the President of France last August, addressing French ambassadors in Paris. And he said, and this is very, very important, and I quote, 300 years of Western hegemony is coming to an end. 300 साल की मगरबी बालादस्ती का खात्मा हो रहा है. That is the huge change. And this was predicted 90 years ago by the great Allama Iqbal. دیکھ مشرق سے ابھرتے ہوئے سورج کو دیکھ, ایشین سینچری. گرا خواب چینی سنبھلنے لگے, ہمالیہ کے چشمے ابھلنے لگے, گیا دور سرمایہ داری گیا, تماشا دکھا کے مداری گیا. 90 years ago, Iqbal had predicted this thing. So this huge change, we are at the center stage. Yes, Tariq Sahab, we are mired in our own problems, but it's about vision. ہمت ہونی چاہیے, دم ہونا چاہیے, جان ہونی چاہیے. That is what takes you forward. And we have done it. 1965, Pakistan had the war with India. And Pakistan was an ally of the United States. But we befriended China. China supported us. The US did not. And the Americans were very angry with us. And Ayub Khan went to see President Johnson in the White House in November 65. And President Johnson was from Texas, and he could be rough also. He said, look here, you guys, you Pakistanis, you are supposed to be our friends, but you are flirting with the Chinese. At that time, flirtation was a bad word. You are flirting with the Chinese. And we can't tolerate the red Chinese, the communist China is the enemy. Field Marshal Ayub Khan, to his credit, said, look here, Mr. President, if we break with America, we will damage our economy. But if we break with China, we'll damage our country. And that's a red line for us. 65. 1979, October, Foreign Minister Agha Shahi goes to Washington for talks. America's Secretary of State, they have formal talks, then he takes him aside. Whenever they have to give a warning, the Americans take you alone, separately. Dronically. And Mr. Agha Shahi was there. And he said, this was told to me by Agha Shahi Sahab because he was my very good, I treat him, almost call him my mentor, great respected person. And as you know, he was Deputy Commissioner in Thatta also. People in Thatta still remember Agha Shahi Sahab as a very good administrator. Both brothers, Agha Hilali Sahab was in Washington. So Shahi Sahab said that he was there and they brought in their own top negotiator who was with the Soviet negotiation arms talks, Gerard Smith. And in the room separately they said, Mr. Foreign Minister, do you know what you are doing? And the voice was raised. And Shahi Sahab, he was smoking his pipe, very soft spoken. He's from Bangalore, very dhimi awaaz mein, smiling with his glasses. You are, Mr. Foreign Minister, you are entering the valley of death by building the bomb. We know what you are doing in Kahuta. Kahuta was kept secret by Bhutto Sahab for 3 years, but then it was discovered in 79. We started the project in 75, late 76. So the CIA did not know, but then they discovered it. And so this was the kind of pressure we faced. And the same, when he reported back, our system, General Zia was the president, he said, look at the site where we will test the nuclear bomb. And the Chaghi site was selected in October 1979 by Dr. Ashfaq Ahmed personally. And we knew we'll do the test, we'll make the bomb. So this is the spirit which Pakistan has had. We have had that courage, but then you have to have leadership with courage, conviction, and commitment, which can see that through. And I think that people who are gathered here, the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, people are doers. And I've met Beg Saab, who is the Honorary Consul General of Morocco, Tawab Saab, who is the Consul General of Ethiopia. So yeah, people who are leaders in the women who I've met here. Rana Fancy is here, Dr. Aisha Khan is here, others are here. ये जानदार लोग हैं, लोगों में जान है, कौम में करंट है, क़यादत ज़रा कमज़ोर है अभी. तो ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है. It will take us forward. We have the spirit, but we have to have that himmat. And we have done it in the past. And Khizr Saab, you were mentioning about the Sindh investment. I was chairman of the parliamentary committee on CPEC. And there were issues. Port Qasim ka tha, KT Bandar ka tha, Karachi Circle Railway tha. And Qaim Ali Shah Saab se, because on the Sayyid grid I have good relations with the Sayyids of Sindh, including Khadim Ali Shah, Qaim Ali Shah, Ghaus Ali Shah, Murad Ali Shah, and all the big Shahs who are there. And also Sayyid Ghulam Mustafa Shah Saab, who was president of the Sayyid Association of Sindh. So he told me that Shah Saab, because they didn't have good relations at that time with Islamabad, and when Mian Saab was the prime minister. So we served as the bridge, and Sindh provided us the opportunity. They resolved the issue of Port Qasim with the Chinese, because it was a land issue, federal government and provincial government, and also other issues. So I think that Karachi, I remember, used to be the hub for the whole region in terms of connectivity, in terms of airline connectivity, in terms of trade, in terms of culture. So I think that Pakistan's rightful role has to be restored, and that is why it's the 21st century, it's the era of the global south. The global balance of economic and political power, ladies and gentlemen, is shifting from the west to the east. And it's the rise of the global south, not just China, not just Asia, but Africa. And Nadra Panjwani Saab has pointed it out very well with statistics, and so has Tariq Ikram Saab. So in that context, we will take it forward. But I always believe, my motto has always been teamwork and homework. And in the spirit of teamwork, I would say that we are proud of our association with the Karachi Council of Foreign Relations. And we would like to take it forward, because it cannot be a one-man show. We try to have one-man show, they have failed all the time, whether it's the Fauji's or the civilians, because they think we know everything. They don't, and they fail. So, and the failure is apparent in different areas, even today. So in that regard, we would like to have cooperative arrangements. And I would request that the Karachi Council of Foreign Relations, Madam, we can have Ikram Saab with Paidar. Let us do events together. Let us make this a platform, not just for promoting Pakistan's interests or image in Africa or soft power, but for trade, for investment. Tawab Saab, Beg Saab, aap bhi. Ab to aapke bhai saab bhi parliament mein hai, lekin you have to be, Islamabad is where the action is, and we are your voice there. Take it forward. These are opportunities we have to seize. And those opportunities are there for us. हमारा रोना धोना बहुत होता है. मैं एग्री करता हूँ तारिक राम साहब से. हर दफा हम रोते हैं कि जी मारे गए, साजिश हो रही है. कोई साजिश नहीं हो रही. सिर्फ हमारी नलायकी है या बदनीयती है. It's all there. I criticized the Prime Minister when he said in Jeddah at that conference that Pakistan has the biggest corruption. हमारा fail हो गया system. Everything is in a shambles. Everything. मैं कहा ये रोना धोना बंद करें. Solve the problem. Be the problem solvers. We know what is the problem. Provide the solution. That is what we are. And the solution lies in Pakistan. कोई बाइडन नहीं आएगा, कोई और नहीं आएगा. बाइडन वैसे भी जा रहा है, ट्रंप आ रहा है अभी 5 नवंबर को इंशाल्लाह. So we have to decide our own destiny. And I'm proud of Oman, Sultanate of Oman. They are hosting, ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 Muslim countries who are providing medical assistance for the Palestinian freedom fighters जो जख्मी हैं. एक तुर्की है, एक ओमान. So we are proud of that. That is the spirit. ये खौफ नहीं होता. President Roosevelt said, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. कि वो IMF क्या कहेगा, अमेरिका क्या कहेगा, फलाना क्या कहेगा, इंडिया क्या करेगा. You do your own thing. No, there's no external threat to Pakistan. So we have to be the masters of our own destiny and build a better tomorrow, inshallah, for Pakistan, for the region, for the global south, for Africa, a better tomorrow with no overlords and no underdogs. Thank you very much.
If there are any questions from the audience, we are open to taking them though.
My name is Naveed Khan. All those brilliant speeches and a lot of facts that were given, I just have one thing to say, that if possible, we should have young professionals in our trade offices rather than the bureaucrats who are very nice, very fine people, but unfortunately they do not have the zest of the commercial thing. One example I'll give you is Tariq. I've known from the time when he was with the Reckitt and Coleman, and when he came into the government, he changed the face of export. Same way, Tariq, if we could have young commercial people with the knowledge of business in a trade offices, it would be a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we've had the privilege of knowing your illustrious brother, General Manzoor Saab in Islamabad and Chaklala. You have a very rightful thing. I think it's depending on the leadership and the quality of manpower. He was there, 350 billion, say 350 million, say 780 million. Over 100% spike. And Abhi, what idea did he give? He said, these are the items. Every month, top 10 exporters, meeting with the Prime Minister, meeting with the policy. I'll give you an example of success story. Let's take Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, the nuclear program. It was impossible. Look at the vision, audacity. Pakistan 2 lakh hua hai. East Pakistan leda hua. We are struggling. People are saying, will Pakistan survive? He said, and he gets a letter from a young scientist in Holland, Dr. Ikyu Khan. I can help you make the bomb. One letter he calls him. And last week my wife and I, we went to see Dr. Ikyu Khan's widow, Dr. Henny Khan, and her daughter. He says, I form a 3-member committee. Ghulam Misaq Khan, AG and Qazi, Agha Shah. No ISI, no forge, no bureaucracy, no planning division, no PC1. Kuch nahi. I give you the authority, you do it. Bomb banana hai, beg, borrow or steal. Just do it. Mr. Bhutto was ousted in a coup. Zia-ul-Haq was killed in a crash. Mohtarama Benazir Bhutto Shaheed aayi, Mian Sahab aaye sare. We made it in 1998. We did it. CPEC started off well, but because of political instability, from 2017 to 2023, in 7 years we have had 7 prime ministers. 7 prime ministers. So we have been missing out on strategic clarity. Abibi, it's very important for that. So you appoint the right people at the right places. My view would be that the MOFCOM, the Ministry of Commerce, should appoint trade counsellors from the private sector. Tawab Sahab ko leke aaye. Tawab Sahab, you stop making your millions and you come and be the trade counsellor. You'll make a difference. Ethiopia mein. Sahab, you don't need to make more money anymore. I think humne itna bana liya. Aap aaye, मैदान में आए. Maghreb को take over करें. Maghreb means Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, Libya. उसमें Mauritania भी add कर लें और Sahara भी आपका ही है. तो वो you have huge resources. Atlantic is covered also. So I agree with that. It has to be a public sector and private sector initiative. The traditional bureaucratic approach. अभी जो बात हो रही थी सिंध दोस्तों से भी, Chinese हो या Arabs हो, Saudis, क्या कहते हैं? They ask for 2 things only. One window operation. The other thing is foolproof security. I was in Shanghai just before the COVID. I was having dinner with the mayor of Shanghai. I said, if I want to hypothetically set up a company here in Shanghai, and Shanghai has over 25,000 companies, foreign companies, how long will it take? He said, if your papers are in order, it will take 48 hours. I said, where will I have to go? He said, you can sit in your hotel room online. And I said, but if I want to open a bank account? He said, within 24 hours. This is the People's Republic of China, Communist Party of China. कहते हैं जी communist system में one party. Sharjah, Dubai, यही है. So this is there. क्यों जी तारक साहब?
I think
Tariq Saab is a doer. That's why I've asked for his CV. I'll send it to the GHQ and SIFC. Don't worry.
یہ کہہ رہے تھے کہ وہ ہم نے بام پھر بھی بنا لیا. میں کہا شکر ہے پی آئی اے اس وقت پرائیویٹائز نہیں ہوئی تھی. اچھا یہ آپ نے جو بات کی یہ بہت مناسب ہے. میں نے اس ایشو کو بڑا کلوزلی دیکھا ہے کہ ہمارے کمرشل کاؤنسلرز باہر جو ہیں ایکچولی اگر آپ اس کو اس کی فنڈامنٹلز کو دیکھیں تو ہماری ایکسپیکٹیشنز غلط ہیں. I'll tell you why. دیکھیں ہم پبلک سیکٹر کے ڈپٹی کمشنرز ایف بی آر کے لوگوں کو کسٹم کے لوگوں کو کامرس کے لوگوں کو جو گورنمنٹ سرونٹس ہیں ان کو بھیجتے ہیں وہاں پہ. اب ایمبسیز میں دو قسم کے کام ہوتے ہیں. ایک گورنمنٹ ٹو گورنمنٹ ٹریڈ پالیسی ہے ڈیوٹیز ہیں انیشیٹیوز ہیں اور ایک ہوتا ہے پھٹے پہ بیٹھ کے آرڈر لینا بزنس کرنا. ٹھیک ہے نا. یہ دو قسم کے کام ہیں ہر ملک کے اندر. اب کمرشل کاؤنسلر ہمارا گورنمنٹ ٹو گورنمنٹ کے لیے تو بہترین ہے. اس کا مائنڈ سیٹ اس کی ٹریننگ اس کا کلچر اس کا ایٹیٹیوڈ اس کی اسٹیم وہ سب گورنمنٹ ٹو گورنمنٹ کے لیے ٹھیک ہے. مگر جہاں پہ بزنس کا کام آتا ہے وہاں پہ دے آر اے فیلئر. دے کی ناٹ اینڈ یو آر رانگلی ایکسپیکٹنگ دیم ٹو لرن what you have learnt in 30 years in private sector to be able to do in 3 months. تو وہاں پہ لوکل لوگ جو ایسے ہوں جو کہ لوکل لینگویج جانتے ہیں. مجھے یاد ہے میں ایک دفعہ یو کے گیا اپنی وہ آفیشیل وزٹ کے اوپر تو جو ڈرائیور تھا اس نے کہا صاحب مجھے رستہ بتا دیں. میں نے کہا میں آپ کو رستہ بتا دوں کہاں جانا ہے. کہتا ہاں جی میں ابھی پوسٹ ہوا ہوں مجھے تو پتہ نہیں کہاں جانا ہے. سو دیٹ از اونلی اے ڈرائیور. ایون ایٹ دا کمرشل کاؤنسلر لیول لینگویج سیکھنا کلچر سمجھنا وال مارٹ کو سمجھنا ٹارگیٹ کو سمجھنا اٹ ٹیکس لاٹ آف ٹائم. سو رانگ ایکسپیکٹیشنز اینڈ دین پرائیویٹ سیکٹر پبلک سیکٹر کی پارٹنرشپ کے ساتھ وہاں پہ دیٹ وڈ بی دی آنسر.
شاہد صاحب آپ نے جب یہ اسٹارٹ کیا پائیدار تو میرے لیے پرسنلی بڑا خوش کی بات ہے کہ میں نے 35 ایئرس آئی لیوڈ اینڈ ورکڈ ان کینیا اینڈ یوگینڈا. تو یہ تو مجھے لگا جیسے کہ آپ نے میری بات کی ہے. تو یہ بات کی ٹریننگ کی تو میں 1980 کی بات ہے کہ میں زمینار اسٹریٹ پر تھا چھٹی پر آیا ہوا تھا وہاں سے کینیا سے. میں دیکھا سینٹرل بینک کینیا کے 2 بندے شاپنگ کر رہے ہیں جو میں جانتا تھا ان کو. میں جا کے پوچھا کہ یہ کیا کر رہے ہیں آپ یہاں کیا کر رہے ہو. کہتے ہیں میں یہاں ٹریننگ لے رہا ہوں یہاں اسٹیٹ بینک آف پاکستان سے. تو اس وقت یہ اتنا ریلیشن شپ تھا یہ. مگر یہ ہوتا ہے کہ ہم ٹپیکل کیا ہوتا ہے اسٹارٹ اینڈ اسٹاپ کرتے ہیں. جنرل ضیاء کے زمانے میں اتنا دھوم دھام طریقے سے وہ لوگ آئے وہاں کینیا نیروبی. وہ لگا کہ جیسے کہ کیپچر کر لیں گے. بہت اچھا کام کیا ان لوگوں نے. جو منسٹر تھے وہ وہاں پر اسلام آباد سے واپس آ رہے تھے اور دبئی میں میری ملاقات ہوئی. وہ کہتے تم نے پاکستان کو چھپایا ہوا تھا ہم سے. اب تو امیزڈ ہیں کہ پاکستان از سو ویل ڈیولپ. خیر اب تو وتھ کمپیئر ٹو انڈیا مگر اب تو خیر ہم کہاں سے کہاں چلے گئے بولنے میں شرم آئے گی. مگر یہ ہے کہ اب جو شروع کیا آپ کو تو میں اور کچھ نہیں کہنا چاہتا. صرف یہ کہ افریقہ از ناٹ ون کنٹری از اے ڈفرنٹ کلچر ڈفرنٹ پلیسز آر ڈفرنٹ. تو آئی ہوپ وی ڈو اے فنٹاسٹک جاب آف دیٹ. تھینک یو ویری مچ.
Thank you, sir, for your words, and I think very inspirational. آپ نے جو بات کی you mentioned about General Zia's visit. It was 1978. He went for the funeral of Jomo Kenyatta, who was the father of modern Kenya. And then Kenyatta's son, whom I have met also, Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru is the Swahili word which means freedom. وہ آ گیا تھا. آپ نے جو بات کی نا کہ لرننگ فرام پاکستان. I was recently, ladies and gentlemen, reading a book published in China. It is published, written by a former deputy prime minister of China. His name is Li Lanqing. And the book, which is now in English also, is called Breaking Through. He says that when China, and this every country has to do which has to move forward, decided to have a course correction, کہ ہم غلط سمت پہ جا رہے ہیں ہم نے پالیسی کا رخ تبدیل کرنا ہے. تو انہوں نے کہا کہ وہ دینگ شاپنگ واز اے گریٹ لیڈر شارٹ ہائٹ اینڈ ویری دے ہیڈ 3 months of meetings. انہوں نے کہا کہ وی شوڈ لرن فرام 3 countries. 3 countries دے سلیکٹڈ اور تینوں میں وہ کہتے ہیں انگریزی زبان کامن ہے. سنگاپور, فلپینس اینڈ پاکستان. In 1980 and 81-82, this Li Lanqing was سمجھ لیں اس وقت ڈی جی تھا, جوائنٹ سیکرٹری تھا. he came to Pakistan. He says that we had a problem because we just were now allowed get loans from the World Bank and Asian Development Bank. But we didn't know how to prepare a feasibility report. کیا لون کیسے لیتے ہیں, feasibility کیا تیار ہوتی ہے, they had no idea. So he says that Pakistan, he says the Pakistani bureaucracy was amazing. یہ سن لیں جناب آپ, Pakistani, referring probably to you and your colleagues at that time, they were amazing. They helped us prepare, they were efficient, they knew what to do, thak, file bhi kaam kar rahi thi. And then he said we went to Karachi. And this is now Karachi of 81, 82, 83. He says we were amazed. Karachi was then lifting a cargo of 2.6 million tons. Shanghai was backward. 10% of the cargo of Karachi was being lifted by Shanghai port at that time. And up Shanghai is 26 million, by the way. So what he was saying, this is all in our own lifetimes. I'm not giving Alaf Laila ki dastan. This is all in our lifetime. We have done it. It's the same stock, the same people. But leadership with clarity is doable. But sir, it's very inspiring. When we leave, I'll take to your card because I think aap mein jaan hai. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I think I would like to compliment Sister Natra Panjwani. It's a very good initiative because the issue is basically awareness. I have worked for the World Bank in about 9 countries of Africa. And I really see when every time I was going...
Which countries were those?
Like going to...
Which countries were those?
Uganda, Botswana, Kenya and all those. Yeah. So I was really surprised when I was going to Uganda, I was having image of Idi Amin. But when I really visited Uganda, I saw that Uganda's housing market then was much better organized than Pakistan. So I think this think tank will create the awareness. Botswana for that. Botswana produces the world's best diamond, the De Beer. So it's not Africa, as the leader said. It's the Africans who are poor. Africa is rich. So I think this great initiative, and you will be really creating much more awareness about Africa in Pakistan. Thank you very much for this.
آپ کو میں ایک بات بتا دوں, آپ نے کہا نا یوگینڈا کا, یوگینڈا اینڈ کینیا, 80% of their payments are digitized. Digitized. They are so advanced. The Kenyan farmer, the Ugandan farmer, I was recently there, and General Museveni is mashallah there for the last 35 years. He's there. Now his son will take over. The sun also rises. Lekin wo hai ke the country is progressing. So the country is progressing. And Africa ki baat karte hain, digitized economy. China has become almost cashless. Iran mein gaya recently. Even the beggars have QR codes. QR code. It's amazing. This is not the, and people do give the code. In wheelchair mein tha, he said, "There's my QR code." It won't take. It's cashless. So this is my wife and I were in Xinjiang last October, and we were in Kashgar. We wanted to. It was a very hot summer day, so I said, "Kuch tarboos khate hain." He said, "Cash?" I said, "No." You have to give this is a QR code. So this is what is happening. This is the world around us, how it's changing. So we have to, it's all doable. اس طرح ہے کہ جی وہ ریڈ ٹیپ کا ہے, فلانا نہیں کرتا, یہ اسٹیبلشمنٹ نہیں کرے, کوئی اسٹیبلشمنٹ نہیں, کوئی بائیڈن نہیں, کوئی فوج نہیں, یہ ہمارا اپنا ہے. یو وانٹ ٹو گیٹ تھنگس ڈن. اپنے ذاتی کام تو جلدی ہو جاتے ہیں, ایس آر او بھی بن جاتا ہے, یہ کام نہیں ہوتے. کر لیں گے نہیں, اورنگزیب میں جان ہے. He's got clarity and he's got, as the Americans say, he's got zing in him and fire in his belly. Yes, sir.
سر میرا نام خواجہ جہاں زیب ہے اور میری زیب ٹریول, اور 50 سال سے میں ٹورزم انڈسٹری میں ہوں. میں بڑی خوشی
And I think I met you when I was Minister for Tourism.
Yes, we met it. سر میں ایک چیز بڑے دکھ کے ساتھ ایک عرض کروں گا.
Yes, sir.
وہ یہ کروں گا کہ 75 ایئرس سے جو ٹورزم پوٹینشیل ہے, اور اتنا زیادہ ٹورزم پوٹینشیل ہے جو کسی کنٹری میں, جو پاکستان میں. ہم گارمنٹ کی بات کرتے ہیں, لیدر کی بات کرتے ہیں, دنیا بھر کی چیزوں کی بات کرتے ہیں. ابھی آپ نے عمان کا مینشن کیا کئی ذرائع سے. عمان, ہز ایکسیلنسی, یہاں کونسل جنرل صاحب بیٹھے ہیں, ان کو پتہ ہے کہ انہوں نے ٹورزم میں کتنا کام کیا ہے. ITB برلن is a German tourism exhibition, the largest and the oldest tourism exhibition of the world. اس کا دس ایئر 2024 کا ہوسٹ جو تھا وہ عمان تھا, اور عمان کی وہاں جو پریزنٹیشن تھی اس نے دنیا کی آنکھیں کھول دی. تو ہمیں ایک ٹورزم سے ان سے بھی سیکھنا ہے, افریقہ کی, کیونکہ سبجیکٹ آج افریقہ کا ہے تو ہمیں افریقہ سے بھی سیکھنا چاہیے کہ افریقہ نے ٹورزم کو کتنا پروموٹ کیا ہے. ہم کینیا کی تو بہت بات کرتے ہیں اور جو کنٹریز کی بھی بات کرتے ہیں, آپ ایتھوپیا کو ہی دیکھیں کہ ایتھوپیا ٹورزم میں کتنی پروموشن کر رہا ہے. آپ اتنے ہائی پوسٹ پہ رہے ہیں اور ابھی بھی آپ ویل کنیکٹڈ ہیں ہر چیزوں کے اندر. خدا رہا میں 55 سال سے اس انڈسٹری میں ہوں اور میں نے ہر دروازہ کھٹکھٹایا ہے کہ اس انڈسٹری کو, جس کو سروس انڈسٹری کہتے ہیں, آپ نے اس کی امپورٹنس کیوں نہیں لی. ہمارے پر کلچر, ہیریٹیج, کیا چیز ہمارے پاس نہیں. وی ہیو دا 5 یونیسکو لسٹڈ ہیریٹیج سائٹس ہمارے پاس ہیں. ایک ایسی چیز جس کو ابھی تک ہم نے درگزر کیا ہے, دیٹ کالڈ ان ٹیکنیکل وے میں ہم سے کہتے ہیں میرین ٹورزم. ہماری کوسٹ لائن یہاں سے گوادر تک خالی پڑی ہے. تو پلیز
Got it.
یہ میں آپ سے ہمبل ریکویسٹ کروں گا کہ اتنا بڑا پوٹینشیل ہے فارن کرنسی ارن کرنے میں تھرو دا ٹورزم, اس پہ کوئی سبجیکٹ پہ کوئی
Thank you, Bhai Sahab.
نہیں کرتا. تھینک یو ویری مچ.
You know, tourism is the fastest growing industry in the world, $2 billion a day. When I was Minister for Tourism, Culture, Information, what did I do? I said the two go together because it's not just tourism, it's your cultural heritage. Hamid Haroon Sahab idhar hain. I made him chairman of the task force on cultural heritage. Pro bono, of course. And I got elected as the World Tourism Organization's chairman for South Asia for the first time, which includes India at that time, because tourism is very important. And then I had a briefing, and that was the last briefing before that October 12th coup. It was in Skardu. Because both Mian Nawaz Sharif Saab or General Musharraf Saab, dono ko shock tha tourism mein. Balki in fact, if they were not in politics, they would have been very good friends. Because culturally, they were both Lahoris. Wo bhi FC college ke the, Kuladule, music ka shock, gap shop. So, and this, what did I say in that briefing? I said, Skardu International Airport, visa on arrival, because Skardu will link up with Chinese province of Xinjiang and also Central Asia. Japanese tourists, German tourists, no ISI NOC, no MI or IB NOC, no security, visa on arrival automatically and launch them there. There are a lot of Chinese who go to Xinjiang from other parts of China. They should be allowed to cross over here. The whole economy of Gilgit-Baltistan would change. And then Pakistan also has, as you know, it's not just mountains. You've got beaches. We have got, inka jo kya hai, desert tourism. Aapke paas Cholistan hai. So there, you also have out of 14, 6 mountain peaks, which are the world's highest. So it's all doing. So the first tourism master plan was established, and with the help of Austrian government, I established the skiing resort at Malam Jabba, free of charge. Paise ka issue nahi hai. And I was in talks because I had invited the then information minister of UAE, now he's the foreign minister, Abdullah Al-Zayed. So usne kaha ki we want a tourism resort where our families can come and enjoy the summers. So I said Naran, Shogran, these all areas are there. So they were looking at the sites, but then wo change ho gaya. And also we managed to get the World Tourism Organization to say 2001 will be the Visit Pakistan year. Phir wo 9/11 aa gaya. Thank you.
السلام علیکم. میرا نام محمد مصدق عزیز ہے. میں پاکستان میں اسکول ایجوکیشن پر کام کرنے والی ایک لیڈنگ این جی او گرین کریسنٹ ٹرسٹ سے تعلق رکھتا ہوں. اس ہال میں موجود بہت سارے مہمان انکلوڈنگ رام سہگل صاحب کی بلیسنگ ہمیں حاصل ہے. سر آپ نے اپنی گفتگو میں جو اسٹیج سے کی اور پھر ابھی یہاں بھی جو بات کی 2-3 دفعہ 4 دفعہ یہ ذکر کیا کہ ہمت ہونی چاہیے اور پھر یہ ذکر کیا کہ لیڈرشپ کچھ کمزور ہے. اسی میں سر 2 سوال ہیں میرے چھوٹے چھوٹے. ایک تو یہ بات کہ کچھ کمزور ہے, یہ تھوڑا آپ نے کثرت نفسی سے کام لیا ہے. دوسری بات یہ کہ اس رول میں تو آپ موجود رہے ہیں کہ نواز شریف صاحب, عمران خان صاحب, شہباز شریف صاحب کو
جب میں منسٹر تھا میں اس کی بات کرتا ہوں.
نہیں میں کچھ اور بات کر رہا ہوں سر. ان کو آپ سجیشنز دیتے ہیں اور بڑی ویلڈ سجیشنز دیتے ہیں,
لیکن they hear but they do not listen.
سر اصل سوال تک نہیں آپ آنے دے رہے. تو سر یہ جو لیڈرشپ رول ہے اس میں آپ خود کیوں نہیں آتے ہیں؟ اور جنہوں نے
یار آج افریقہ کا دن ہے,
تو صرف افریقہ کی بات
روز ٹاک شو میں ہوتی ہیں.
ٹھیک ہے,
گپ شپ یہ ہوا تو یہ نہیں ہوا. لیٹس فوکس آن یہ آج ٹاپک یہ ہے. آئی ایم اویلیبل فار دا گپ شپ آلسو.
My name is Ziaul Arfin. I was former chairman of Diplomat of Karachi Chamber of Commerce Industry. سر جو آپ نے تھنک ٹینک کے جو ٹاپک ہے اٹس اے ویری گڈ ٹاپک, کیونکہ افریقن کنٹریز کے اوپر ہم نے کافی کام کیا ہے اور جو سب سے مین جو ایشو ہے وہ ایز آف ڈوئنگ بزنس کا ہے. میں آپ کو وہ بتانا چاہوں گا, کیونکہ افریقن کنٹریز کے ہم کافی ایمبیسڈرز آتے ہیں, نواب صاحب بھی بیٹھے ہوئے ہیں, ایتھوپیا والے بڑی محنت کرتے ہیں. جو ایمبیسڈرز یہاں پہ ہوتے ہیں وہ اپنی کنٹریز کے لیے بڑی محنت کرتے ہیں کہ ہم یہاں سے وہاں سے امپورٹ کریں, مگر ہم ایکسپورٹ کرنا چاہتے ہیں. ایکسپورٹ کرنے کے لیے جیسے ابھی نوید صاحب نے بتایا کہ جو ٹریڈ کاؤنسلرز ہوتے ہیں ہمارے چیمبرز میں 2 دفعہ ٹریڈ کاؤنسلرز جو اپوائنٹ ہو رہے ہیں وہ آ رہے ہیں, اور وہ سارے جتنے بھی ہیں وہ آئرس کے اور کسٹم کے آفیسرز ہیں, ان کو ٹریڈز کے بارے میں کچھ معلوم نہیں ہے. سب سے پہلی بات یہ کہ اگر آپ یہ بیسکس پہ آ جائیں, اگر یہ ٹریڈ کاؤنسلرز صحیح ہوں گے تو وی کین انکریز اے ایکسپورٹ فرام 1.6 بلین تک, ہم 10 بلین تک جا سکتے ہیں. اور سیکنڈلی میری ایک اور خواہش ہے کہ ہماری ایز آف ڈوئنگ بزنس میں اکثر پرائم منسٹر صاحب آتے ہیں کراچی میں, تو ہم بزنس مین کی پرابلم سنتے ہیں. میری خواہش ہے کہ وہ آئے تو ہم سے بزنس مین سے ہمارے ٹارگیٹس کے بارے میں پوچھیں. تھینک یو.
یہ جو آپ بات کریں نا انویسٹمنٹ کی, I'll just give you some figures. This is the money which is lying around for Pakistan. Saudi Arabia has promised 35 billion, Kuwait 3.5 billion, UAE 10 billion, Chinese 15 billion in different projects. Create the projects, give them a conducive environment and prepare those, do your homework well. یہ گپ شپ نہیں کہ انشاءاللہ we'll do this, انشاءاللہ یہ ہوگا. آپ لوگ کرائیں. These days times have changed. They ask for specific projects and they also want those projects to be profitable because it's not charity. After all, yeah, exactly. So I agree with you. The style of work has to change and you have to. ہمارے ہاں یہ سارا جو dynamism ہے, creative potential ہے. People who have worked in the World Bank, people who have worked in Africa, people who are still working in Pakistan. I think that it's all doable.
I'll just say something about Africa. جو آپ نے کہا نا کہ ہمیں ایشوز ہیں, دیکھیں افریقہ میں جو ابھی لیٹسٹ مجھے نہیں پتا مگر کافی حد تک تو مجھے معلوم تھا, جو 2-3 فنڈامنٹل ایشوز ہیں وہاں پہ. ایک تو یہ ہے کہ آپ کی بینکنگ کی ارینجمنٹس, ٹھیک ہے نا, وہ نیشنل بینک نے بہت کوشش کی اور ہو رہی ہے وغیرہ وغیرہ. سو پین افریقہ بینکنگ کی جو ارینجمنٹ ہے اس کو دیکھنے کی ضرورت ہے. سیکنڈلی کہ پاکستان کی طرح وہاں پہ بھی امپورٹ کے اوپر جو ڈیوٹیز ہیں اس کی اوائڈنس ہوتی ہے, ایویژن ہوتی ہے وغیرہ وغیرہ. تو اگر آپ مال یہاں سے کینیا بھیجیں گے تو شاید وہ وہاں سے نہ لیں, اگر آپ صومالیہ بھیج دیں گے تو شاید وہاں سے وہ لے لیں, کیونکہ ڈپینڈ کرتا ہے کہ کام. یہ پریکٹیکل ریالٹیز ہیں, تو بزنس مین کو تو ریالٹیز کے ساتھ زندہ رہنا. تو ایک تو یہ چیز ہے. تیسرا ایشو جو افریقہ میں ہے وہ یہ ہے کہ وہاں پہ بہت سارے لوگ الیکٹرک موٹر چاہتے ہیں, رکشا چاہتے ہیں, آپ کا بوائلر چاہتے ہیں, واشنگ مشین چاہتے ہیں وغیرہ, مگر وہ پورا کنٹینر لوڈ نہیں منگوا سکتے, کیونکہ وہ کہتے ہیں جی ہمیں 1-2 مشینیں پہلے ہم ٹرائی کر لیں, تو پھر اس کے بعد تو آپ کو 1-2 پیس تو آپ یہاں سے نہیں شپ کر سکتے. سو واٹ یو نیڈ ٹو ڈو, اور یہ ہم نے کیا بھی تھا, پھر اس کے بعد گورنمنٹ چینج ہوئی تو وہ ختم ہو گیا. وہاں پہ ویئر ہاؤسز کے چین چاہیے جہاں سے پاکستان ویئر ہاؤس فری آف کاسٹ دے ایکسپورٹر کو, وہ اپنا مال وہاں رکھے اور وہاں سے 1 رکشہ بیچ لے, 2 رکشے بیچ لے. جب وہ بکنا شروع ہو جائے گا تو وہ کنٹینر پورے منگوانے شروع ہو جائے گا. اسی طرح ہم نے ایکسپورٹ کو بڑھایا تھا. سو دیٹ اس کا بڑھنا. اور فورتھلی جو وہاں پہ ہے وہ ویزاز اور ہماری ڈپلومیٹک ریلیشن شپ کی جو باتیں ہیں ان میں کہیں کہیں پہ ایشوز ہیں. کینیا ہمارا وہ رائس کے اوپر ڈیوٹی لگائے تھے, تو اس قسم کی چیزیں ہیں. تو یہ 3-4 مین ایشوز ہیں جو کہ تھنک ٹینک وڈ ٹیک اپ اینڈ وی کین لیڈ دیٹ. تھینک یو.
I am Aslam Pakhali and a member of Managing Committee from Karachi Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Honorable Senator, as you said in your speech, tagde ho jao. میں نے طارق بھائی کو تگڑے ہوئے دیکھا ہے. Long time ago, I was a part of that delegation where we went to Iran, and where you get the market access for our quinoa. آپ نے تگڑے ہو کے ایرانیوں سے جس طرح نیگوشیٹ کیا اینڈ بائیلیٹرل ٹریڈ ہوا. ناؤ آئی وانٹ ٹو لنک this about the quinoa market access with Musaid Saab aapse. You said that you will be the observer on the BRICS. You will be going as an observer.
To BRICS? Yes, in Vladivostok.
Vladivostok, east of Russia. Will Pakistan become a part of BRICS? Because Africa में आपको business करना है, तो बहुत सी African countries are going to adopt that, especially South Africa. If Pakistan also want to do trade with African countries, then we have to go into the BRICS. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. BRICS means BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. I was invited last year in September at the BRICS conference in South Africa because they were chairing BRICS. And I was the first Pakistani to be invited because we are not a member. And I was chairing sessions and I could see that there was a lot of respect and warmth and receptivity towards Pakistan. Although I went in my individual capacity, not in a formal official capacity because it was a think tank event and the conference of leaders was next door. But I then told the Foreign Office and the government at that time that what the hell are we doing? Why are we not applying for membership? Said जी वो इंडिया भी है तो मैं कहा इंडिया सार्क में भी है इंडिया शंघाई कॉक में इंडिया से कोई untouchable तो नहीं है ना it's a neighbor, we can deal with them. I said the weakest link in the chain of BRICS is India, the strongest is China. And in the meantime, Iran applied, UAE applied, Saudi Arabia applied, Egypt applied, Ethiopia applied, and they all got in. अब बांग्लादेश ने फिर हमने अप्लाई किया, मैंने थोड़ा डंडा सा दिया तो फिर उसके बाद हुआ. This is the way. No, but we miss out. एक और भी है East Asia में, it's not Africa. RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. US is not in it, India is not in it, China is in it, Australia is in it, Japan, South Korea सारे हैं. So these are important avenues, regional organizations, which can be platforms to promote your interests. And this is how the world is being transformed. But now we have applied finally. और मैं एक रीज़न मेरा ये भी है रशिया जाने को कि वो चेयरमैन है इस्तीफा के ज़रा हमारी एप्लीकेशन भी पुश करो.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are drawing towards the end of our session today, and I'd like to introduce Mr. Ikram Sehgal Saab, who's the patron of KCFR and has played an important role in the growth and development of this organization. Senator Saab has already given a brief description of the illuminatory things that Sehgal Saab has achieved during his tenure. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ikram Sehgal Saab to the stage for his concluding comments. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Such a conversation, you get inferiority complex, particularly when you are at the receiving end of Senator Mushair Hussain. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, Senator Mushair, I really want to thank you because this is a very important initiative, very important initiative. This is the most important initiative for many reasons. Many things have come together. And one of the things that have come together is that you have been part and parcel of CPEC for a long time. And as you know, CPEC, Gwadar and Karachi were to the gateways. The second thing is, which probably you do not know, is the World Economic Forum, when it found out that India was not going to let us be part of South Asia, and it was not feasible for us to be part of MENA, made us part of Eurasia because of Gwadar. So we are now part of Eurasia, and I'm so glad that the Honorable Consul General of Oman is here, because that makes us a gateway to Africa. Across from Gwadar to Oman, the road network into Africa, right? So today, we are now, by default, and we would request your help to tell, because the Sindh Investment Department, to get Chinese companies reliant on labor who can set up industries
in Pakistan, particularly in Sindh, right? And I will say that, as from Karachi Council for Relation, the amount of work that has been done by, Ms. Nadra Panjwani and colleagues such as Khadim Ali Shah Sahab and Qadir Jafar Sahab and others, who have really contributed. But most of all, I want to like to recognize also Commodore Sadid Malik. Commodore Sadid Malik, was the Secretary General when this organization really gone down, and he held up this organization together and brought it up. You talk about tourism. The Sindh Investment Department, Khizar didn't talk about it, has got a place called Gorakh Hills. Yes, I've been there. Yes, 6,000 feet. It snows there, in Sindh. It snows in Sindh, in Gorakh Hills, right? And they have a plan to take a road up there through the Kirthar ranges, if possible, or by side, so to develop that as a tourist resort, right? So these are things that are happening. A lot of way to go, and I think it's taken a lot of your time. But I will say this, that Murad Ali Shah, the Chief Minister of Sindh, had the vision to support KCFR. And the board of KCFR, led by Ms. Nadra Panjwani, had the vision to have an office in Islamabad. And we tell you today that we take your offer up, that we should have a sub-collaboration, that Islamabad, Karachi, in that Payadar, CPEC, and this gateway to Oman, so that from Oman we can go through. We can all bring this together, right? Yeah, but I'd like to end also with a little, at one time, Mushaid Sahab and myself were very close to Mia Sahab, maybe many years ago. But at that point of time, Sartaji Sahab and myself and Mushaid used to give him some advice. Like he said, he used to listen but not hear. But the point is that one thing, one day he was talking to me and he said, Ikram Sahab, तुसी साड़ी खिंचाई कर देती है. तो मैं बोला सर कितने, I had written something in one of the articles and I perked up. I said he's actually read my article. So I said तुसी पढ़े ऐसी? उन बोले नहीं मुशाहिद कह रहे ऐसी. So that was the type of, those were the days, my friend. So I will say this, thank you all those, thank you also Dushka for being here with Mushaid, and we take a lot of this thing. We have a lot to learn. We want, we don't want Gwadar to be just somebody's own backyard. We want Gwadar to open up to everybody. Western, Eastern, China, Russia, everybody. Gwadar should be an international city, right? And our gateway, like India is trying through, from Bombay to Jeddah or whatever, our gateway should be Oman, Gwadar, Oman, right? That should be a gateway. Right? So thank you all. Thank you, Khadim Sahab. Thank you, all the Board of Governors, Qadir Jafar Sahab, Javed Ashraf Sahab, all the supportive people. Thank you, Beg Sahab, for being here. Thank you, all the Consul Generals. I would, in the end, say again, thank you, Nadra Panjwani. Thank you for having this. And Dr. Humma Bakai, I don't know if she's still here. She's still here. And I tell you, we are dominated by women now. Karachi Council for Foreign Relations. So thank you all. Thank you for being here.